in my best interest to hike the 3+ miles out of here tonight.
We're about to ski 3 to 4 miles into the backcountry with nothing but my summer gear in my backpack to spend the night. It's scheduled to be 9 degrees Fahrenheit or negative 12 degrees Celsius, so well below freezing, and I have nothing but a 45-liter pack and my summer gear. Well, it's absolutely gorgeous out here. Super comfortable with the sun out. Changes a bit when the sun goes down, but really love enjoying these views on the way in. My hands started to get really cold back there and start to lose a little bit of dexterity, so I stopped and threw on these little mitts. These are simply a waterproof mitten. There's no insulation, they're paper thin, weigh like 1 or 2 ounces. Super pretty, super enjoyable. You're like in that twilight zone, just the lighting is beautiful. Excited to see camp? We'll get camp set up and we'll show you some of the 3-season gear that needs to keep me warm tonight. Prototype shelter I'll be using. My summer puffy jacket I'm going to be using. This is the Nova UL. As soon as I start to feel a little bit of cold, I will put that on. That's a trekking pole tent set up in deep sandy-like snow. So I'm going to open that up, get my pad out, get my bag lofting up and all my down lofting up, and should be in good shape. Brigham over here, he's just hustling away, digging himself an igloo. I am rather jealous of what your finished product will be.
I'm letting the down loft up, so when I lay down, I'll be perfectly comfy.
Very nice. This is some clothes. A 30-degree summer down quilt. You can see I've got another bag in here. This is my 15-degree Summit sleeping bag. I've used this throughout the summer. Anytime I was using a sleeping bag. You add up those two fill powers, or amount of down I should say, they actually equate to being over a 0-degree bag. Let's talk about this pad. So you'll have seen me use this pad all year. This is an 1/8-inch foam pad. Really excited to be launching these on the website, but also just using it on this trip. Keeping me out of the snow, keeping me warmer and more comfortable. And then I've got a prototype pad. I won't show you too much of this, but it is in the works. This just came back from getting tested on an R-value scale. It's definitely a 3-season pad, not a 4-season pad, but layering a 3-season pad with additional pads makes all the difference in the world. So I'm gonna get this blown up. I don't have puffy pants. I don't have winter pants. I do have a rain shell for my bottom that I will probably put on for extra layer of warmth. When I use a TopQuilt, I'm always using this. This is the Loftech Balaclava, so I've got one of those, and then I've got down booties. So in the summer months, the way I like to use down booties is if I'm pushing the limits on a bag, let's say it's gonna get to 30 degrees, and I'm taking a 30-degree bag, I might opt to, instead of go to the next tier of bag, I'll just layer up and sleep in clothes, and this is usually the first thing. I've got really poor circulation to my feet, so it's one of my favorite things to do, and that's my kit.
I thought of Brigham's trail name.
Okay.
This seals the deal. He's the excavator.
The excavator?
Yeah.
What are you eating over there, Joe?
Just a summer sausage.
That's your backpacking food.
Right. That's all I brought.
I'm about to have sweet pork and rice, and try not to get burned by this fire. I really like this one because it's more spicy, so eating that in the cold is something I enjoy.
Somebody blow on that back.
He's going in. Belly up. All right, food is ready. Looking delicious. A little steam rolling off it. Toes are warming up. All right, I'm hanging out in my bag now, and it is nice and toasty. Feeling. I mean, look at this. Look at this. You see that? All that down. This is great. But I'm also about to start into some snacks. Got me some brownie bites and a honey stinger waffle, cinnamon. Frozen stuff, but still delicious. All right, guys, I've got a big problem.
and I don't know what I need to do. My pad is leaking air at a significant rate. This pad actually went to get R value tested. I think it's Kansas University. And when it came back, I just took it and brought it on the trip. Didn't think much of it. Well, when I went to pump it up, I noticed there was all of this stuff around the lip. And what it looks like, you hear that? Is that maybe this pad valve is leaking. And I'm losing air fast. I'm gonna try to put some more air in this and see if I can fix this, because I can't sleep directly on the snow. There's no amount of down, insulation, sleeping bag, nothing that's going to protect me from that. It kind of looks like, I don't know, something's blocked that, whether it's ice, whether it's the glue they've put on there. Got a toothbrush somewhere. Well, it's holding for now. I'm concerned that this is going to become something throughout the night. As I'm kind of moving this around, I can see little air bubbles. So you can tell, I think what the university did is they slapped some glue or sealant around this top part where it seals. I can't really get that glue off of there. So inside of my kit, I do keep a tenacious tape repair kit. I might have to give this a shot to see if I can cake some of this around the valve just like they did and pray that it sticks, because I feel like if I do that, I'm getting pretty committed. It says allow to cure for 8 to 12 hours. Shoot. I think I'm going to try it. Some of the fun of doing R&D is that you got to test stuff, and it's not always your pad that I've taken care of, and it gets passed around, used by other people, and that's my bad for not testing it like I should have. This is kind of nerve-wracking. By kind of, I mean, what's my alternatives? To hike out tonight and go back home? It's an option. I think the hardest part is it says 8 to 12 hours to set up, and in the cold, it's going to take even longer. You can tell it's moist underneath, and the top's probably setting up, so I'm going to probably have to sit and let this set up for at least an hour, I'm going to assume, before I dare get on it. Alright, it's been over an hour since I caked that valve with the seam sealer from the tenacious tape pack. So let's take a look and see what's going on. The first big concern is, look at this. I'm hoping that that's just because it's super cold air in there, that as I lay on it, it might heat up a little bit. As I've been laying here, I'm just on those little foam pads, and for a situation like this, you probably need to be at a 4 R value minimum, if not more. We're gonna switch this up and lay on this pad and cross our fingers that it's gonna hold some air. So here's my concerns. I'm on it. It's not losing air that I can tell, but my hip is barely off the ground, which means that if it does lose even a little bit of air, I'm going to be touching the ground with my hip, and that's going to start sucking the heat out of me. So basically I'm going to lay here and hope that my body heats up the air in the pad, makes it a little more firm, and the pad cannot leak anymore, or I will be back in the same scenario of touching the snow with my body and be cold. Got my boiling water. Throw that down in the bottom of my bag to help keep my feet warm. My butt is hitting the ground, and it almost feels like maybe it's losing a little bit more, because I think that my back is getting closer to the ground, or maybe hitting the ground. I think that I may have to try to open that valve and blow more air into it, but I think that that's going to defeat everything, and that I'm going to be in the same situation. I'm just kind of sitting here wrestling with the concept of trying this again, figuring it out, or hiking out. The good news is we have changed the valve from this prototype already. The bad news is it doesn't help me tonight. I think either way, I can't really sleep the night like this. It's going to be really miserable. If I had to, I think I could. Meaning I could survive, right? I'm not in a survival situation. It's just an extremely miserable night with a lot of tossing and turning and trying to stay warm, having the ground just suck the heat out of me, or hike out of here and hike back in the morning to get my stuff. I think I'm gonna at least have to try to blow some air into this pad. So I just popped this open, and listen to this. Yeah, that is just gushing air. So I'm about a half mile down the trail, which is nice because I had to warm up. It got really cold as soon as I got out of those bags. Those bags were actually keeping me nice and toasty. Just the underside was very cold. And anyways, I'm gonna click along, get out of here, come back in the morning. I told those guys I'd be back at about 9 a.m. That wind picked up a little bit. I just threw this face covering on. I use this a lot in the summer for sun protection. You got me thinking about all the gear I've been using. My mitts, my gloves. A lot of this has actually worked out pretty dang well, and I'm quite comfortable even with this wind. Pretty cool that even though I'm not able to spend the night, I'm still able to test some of this gear and use my summer gear in a 4th season. All right, 7:30 a.m. and 5 degrees out there. It's cold. Any guesses on what kind of animal was in there? Probably a fox or a smaller coyote. Tent survived just fine. Tyler survived just fine. All right, so let's talk about this. What lessons can we learn from this? Biggest thing for me is, obviously this isn't something that can typically happen to you. This pad has been passed around a bunch, and literally the last place it was at a university getting R-value tested. But the lesson is I should have tested this when it got back to me. Same thing would be like if you ever lend your pad to someone or have any questions, it's always worth blowing it up and checking it. I will say this valve is not going to be on the actual pad. We've already switched that out just in the prototyping. This is the valve that we had around and available, so we will get that switched off. Pads are super important in the winter. Having some extra layers is incredibly important, such as these 1/8" pads are great. This was probably an extreme scenario for those 1/8" pads, but for 3-season and summer use, they're phenomenal. Yeah, lessons learned. Double check your gear. Don't trust anyone to check your gear for you. And stay safe. Make sure you subscribe because we do have a fun, hopefully additional winter trip that I'll be filming in about a month. So make sure you subscribe and click that bell icon. All right, we'll catch you on the next one.